Warning. Spoiler alert. Warning. Spoiler alert. Warning. Spoiler alert.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Shorts and Hoodies podcast. I am Steph. Here we've got
Mr. Dash. What's going on?
Hello, sir. And here we've got
Jared and the flock. How's everyone doing?
Did you all have a good Christmas?
Yeah, very good.
We did.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. Did Santa bring you everything you asked for? Like a red rocket BB gun? Is that the one? Is that what it was?
Red Ryder?
Red Ryder. Red rocket BB gun is something totally different. That's something no, I won't make that joke anymore.
Yeah.
But anyways, we are here on this very festive post-Christmas day to talk about a different Messiah that was reborn into our world. We're here to talk about The Matrix Resurrections. We've all seen this movie. I'm sure a lot of people have seen this because this movie is out in theaters. It's out on HBO Max. So everyone was able to watch it, some for free, some in person. So we're going to give some of our thoughts and analysis of the movie. We'll just start off with you two gentlemen, whichever one of you wants to go first. Give me your overall thoughts of this movie.
All right.
How much time do we have?
Give as much time as your soul needs.
I will start off by saying this.
Yep.
I would have rather watched Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Well, it's a far superior movie, so.
In my eyes, and if you watch the show, you get it. First off, before we get even started here, if you don't see the thumbnail, spoilers here.
Oh, yeah,
this
spoilers.
is a spoiler review. Yeah, fuck it. Because I want nothing more. This should be a rant episode for me. I love the first three movies, and I know a lot of people don't like the second one, but
really?
I think it's important to have the second movie to get to the third because that's how numbers work.
Yes, that's religious work.
For me, I wrote this down, and so usually I have everything on paper, but I was taking notes as I went. This movie felt like a recap episode disguised as a "Where Are They Now?" mixed with weak nostalgia. That was my takeaway from this. This movie lacked the one thing that the original Matrix had, and that was the core of the movie, which is Alice in Wonderland. You've already been to Wonderland. You've already been through the looking glass. You've already been down the rabbit hole.
Yep.
And now you're giving us second-rate players. And that's not to take anything away from what's the dude's name? Jonathan Groff?
Yeah, the guy playing.
Or Neil Patrick Harris, because in their own right, they're great actors. Hold on a second. Get away from there. But this movie was missing two of the most important things of the original Matrix, and that was Mr. Lawrence Fishburne and Hugo Weaving, in my opinion. Just the atmosphere that those two characters bring to a character and into a scene was far left out by what we got by, again, nothing against Jared Groff or Jonathan Groff and Neil Patrick Harris, because I'm a big How I Met Your Mother fan, and Glee was great and shows Hamilton, but you're not Hugo Weaving.
No.
So that
you're
was
not Elrond.
I can go way into detail here, and but I'll let everybody else get around to it first before we start diving into some stuff here.
Jared, your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I was going to watch this last minute like I did with Spider-Man, and then Stephanie texted us and told us that we should do the meeting early. So that's kind of what ended up happening.
I asked if you watched it before I said we should do it early.
That's why I didn't say anything. But it's okay. It's okay. Because I got a little quick 10-minute video in. Look, I was hesitant at first to watch this movie.
I wish I would have watched a 10-minute video. I'm sorry.
Because no, I mean, that's exactly what it was, is that like I'm looking on Google right now, and It's got a 2.6 rating. A lot of people are throwing around the word nostalgia, and it's just not up to par. I mean, it's 66% on Rotten Tomatoes, 4 out of 10, 64 Metacritic rating. And this is as of Sunday. And like, look, I was going to try to steal somebody's HBO Max Plus to watch it, but then I got really afraid after hearing all those initial reviews and hearing all the just negativity. I hate that I'm shitting on your parade right now, Stephanie, and I am so sorry. But like, I didn't even want to rent it. I didn't even want to get HBO Max Plus for $15 to watch a movie. Like, and I would have gone to see it in a theater, but I don't feel like making somebody's Christmas day after, like, I feel like America should be shut down for like the 3 days, the day of Christmas Eve and all that other fun stuff. So like, I got really worried, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't watch it because of all of what I'm hearing about from the movie and what I saw from the video.
Well,
what do you think, Stephanie?
I mean, I liked a lot of it. So I was trying to put in my mind the beginning part, which obviously you've seen, Dash. The beginning part, this is spoilers. So the beginning part of having Neo be like the designer of the game, that the machines have tricked him into being back in the Matrix by saying, oh, you're the designer that designed the game of the Matrix. That's why you have these memories. You made this artistic thing. I thought that was really interesting. And I'm like, gosh, that feels like a familiar premise. I'm trying to think of where I've seen that before. And today I saw it in the review by Mark Kermode. If anybody follows that guy, he's a British film critic, where he likened it to Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I'm like, oh, yes, that's where I've seen the kind of sort of concept. Like in that movie, the actual actors of Wes Craven and Robert Englund are being haunted by this thing that they created, right? And that's kind of what the beginning felt like to me, right? Where Neo was being haunted. And that first part of the movie, I was like, this is really, I don't want to say the word genius because that's an overused word. I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting way of taking the story, that they got him back into the Matrix by making him think that he designed the game. It's super meta, the way that they did it. That's interesting. That's different. That's not what we've seen in the previous 3 films. That's something new and different, right? Was that you saying, no, it stunk? No.
Well, I mean, yeah, no, I have my sliding glass door, and I guess a bug flew in here. So
in your 70-degree weather, brag.
It'll be a matter of time before you see Baker around here trying to get it. So
yeah,
go ahead.
But I thought that was really an interesting way of doing it. Like, if they were going to trick him back, because we all wanted to know at the end of Revolutions, how could Neo and Trinity be alive again, right? Trinity very clearly was impaled and died, and Neo less clearly appeared to have sacrificed himself to broker this peace between the machines and the humans. So the things that I liked in this movie were the design of the newer sentients, as they call them, not machines, but sentients, looked really cool. I thought they looked very much more just as more bug-like than they did in the original trilogy. They looked really neat. There was the one sentient that looked like a stingray that looked really beautiful flying around. And then we saw some, Jared, if you don't care about spoilers, I'll spoil stuff for you, but we got to see Sati come back. And I thought that might be who Priyanka Chopra Jonas's character might be when I saw her in the trailers, and it ended up being Sati. And that was an interesting part of Revolutions that I liked, was that the sentients, these actual programs are sentient programs, right? The idea of AI and being a sentient program, that was coming back. And that was interesting. The way that Morpheus is able to come back in a way that it's like a reskin of Morpheus and Agent Smith together. Super interesting. The way that programs can come into the real world with these magnets was interesting. Looked really interesting to me. When it finally switched from being this Wes Craven's New Nightmare kind of idea of, because the whole beginning part, people are mistaking it as Lana shitting on Warner Brothers for forcing her to make this movie. And I think it's a little bit more her commentary on a lot of the bad remakes and nostalgia that we're getting. Like, people think Ghostbusters was not a great example of nostalgia. People thought that, what's another recent, some of the Jurassic World movies have just been like, oh, here's that dinosaur, here's that thing, really cheap
but
nostalgia.
That's what they make Twitter for. You don't need to make a $1 million movie.
In your opinion.
Yeah,
I think honestly, and I'll probably get a lot of hate from dudes on internet for this. I think a lot of this movie is talking to people that are going to be angry at what the movie is saying. That now Spider-Man, I think, did it fine. Did the nostalgia stuff fine, bringing in this other movies that are nostalgic to us. They did it right and they did it emotionally correct. But I think it was more making fun of Hollywood and I think maybe a little bit Warner Brothers for forcing some of this, like, oh, people know this IP, let's just give it to them. The whole scene with Christina Ricci doing for Matrix 4, we had all these focus groups and all these people, and here are the buzzwords that people talked about. I thought it's like, wow, the Matrix is essentially in this movie, this groupthink that some of these creative outlets are putting together and people are swarming into, that it's this groupthink of, oh, hey, I know that. Oh, hey, I know what that is. Oh, hey, I know what that is. And mistaking that for actual artistic creation.
I don't know. I think it did this. I don't know if Warner
It's
Brothers
messy.
It is messy.
It's a messy movie. I'm not going to excuse that it's messy. It's a very messy movie. And I think it's a lot of scattershot ideas that don't have a lot of cohesion to them. So I'll fully agree with that.
I don't know if Warner Brothers is doing this on purpose, this whole calling themselves out thing, because they did it on Space Jam as well.
Oh, did they? I didn't see Space Jam. I wasn't interested in seeing that.
To where kind of Warner Brothers AI was like the villain.
Interesting.
Played by Don Cheadle. But this is the thing too that it did as well was, we need more action, we need more bullet time, we need more this, and it was essentially, it's that Family Guy skit of what if this is as good as it gets? They said the name of the movie in the in the thing, and that's essentially what that meeting was we need more bullet time, we need more action, we need more this, we need more that, and that's what was in the movie too, and that's why I was like, okay.
Well, were they forced to remake it?
Warner Brothers has been asking the Wachowskis to make another Matrix for many years.
And it's the Wachowskis sisters, right?
Correct, the sisters. Right. Yep, they've been asking them to. Please expand upon that.
Well, see, this is my thing too. So it was both Wachowskis in the beginning for the first trilogy, but now it's just one.
Just Lana. Yep, Lily did not want to do it.
Really?
So they both lost their parents recently, and Lana says that she wrote the story kind of out of that. Now, that's interesting to think about because what the movie was trying to say, the movie was trying to say a lot of different things. One of the points in it that I thought was interesting is the idea of nostalgia being comfort, like things that are familiar to you being comfort. And if everything else in your life is kind of feeling unstable, or everything else in your life is feeling devoid of whatever, having this comfort blanket of this thing that you're familiar with is a kind of the appeal of using nostalgia as IP, is making more movies from your nostalgia. It's a comfort blanket that you're familiar with. Right. The idea of how Neil Patrick Harris's character understands humanity, that it's not about facts for humans, it's about the fiction, what lives in their head, that they'll believe all sorts of crazy things, and that he plays on that. He uses Neo and Trinity's close proximity, but not able to touch, to actually generate power in the Matrix, and that they found out they can really torture the crap out of people even further, and it will produce more and more energy. Like, that's an interesting idea, right? That has some applicability in what we can see in some of the garbage that's on television and in movies and Twitter and in politics and in news and media.
I think there was a good overtone of, if you just step back between like a red pill and a blue pill, even though they were kind of switched. About how the architect kind of looked at things like this, and
very clinical.
It was, and it's not saying that all conservatives are like this or all liberals are like this, and I know we don't get political on the show, but to step back and take a kind of a majority of both the left and the right, there was kind of a cloud over certain items to where it was like, okay, I see what you did there. And I can appreciate it, even no matter what side you're on. And might I say too, I did not care for Neil Patrick Harris. And
Really?
I'm
Okay.
a big Neil Patrick Harris. Having said that, his glasses were amazing.
Oh,
That
his blue glasses. Those are
blue,
cool.
like it was so blue.
Very, very
Jim
blue.
It
Carrey
felt
would
super
say,
meta.
yeah, Jim Carrey would say the goddamn glasses are blue. Like it's a liar, liar. You know, the goddamn pen is blue.
He
Yeah.
sees everything through blue glasses, sort of thing, rose tinted
Oh.
glasses.
But it was, I love those glasses so much. Like, but I did not care for his character at all. And I think what it was is, with the exception of Joey Pants from the first movie, the trilogy doesn't really have any humor.
There's a few humorous moments in here. I was a little disappointed on where
most of it was from Neil Patrick Harris. Like he had that long ass speech, and then I was just like, "What are we doing here?"
Very funny. Well, he's being the absolute opposite. He calls it out. He's being the absolute opposite of the architect, where the architect is incredibly dry, incredibly measured. He's incredibly whatever. Neil Patrick Harris is more of a Loki character. If you want to go Norse mythology, he's more of the trickster god that is kind of tricking humans into doing certain. That's why they call him the analyst, right?
Right.
He's tricking humans into doing things, which I think is kind of another meta idea of people think, you know, media and whatever is tricking us into doing. They are tricking us into. They're tricking us into buying stuff. I hate to break it to everybody. Everything that's on television, for the most part, is a trick to get us to buy something.
Wow, as I sit here in my NBA 2K t-shirt and my Shield hat, drinking my Mountain Dew.
Right. So there's capitalism, and then there's the art that inspires the stuff that we want to buy that then becomes capitalism. I think that idea is in there somewhere. But I won't disagree with anybody that this movie is not what I think it could have been. If it could have been a much more clearly defined thesis, definitely could have done that. The action in it wasn't all that much to write home about.
I will say this. I did have some good things about it.
The train was cool.
The first big fight between I'm going to call him Morpheus because I'm sorry, you're not Lawrence Fishburne. But you're fake Morpheus.
But he was a fake Morpheus. That's the whole point. He was not Morpheus.
He was the code from the game, right?
He was the code from the game, code for Morpheus, and the code for Agent Smith mixed together. Because in the game, if you guys didn't know this, in the video game of The Matrix, which the Wachowskis think have called canon, Morpheus dies. And they reference that in the movie. So spoiler, Jared, but Morpheus, the real Morpheus, is dead. So he couldn't have been in this movie. So they kept that. So Morpheus, sure. Yeah.
Spoil it for me. Spoil it. I don't care.
The yellow outfit,
look cool.
On point.
Cool.
I could deal without the I'm sorry, you got a blue suit on with like this groovy blue shirt. Why are you wearing purple glasses? I'm sorry, dog. But the yellow outfit was on point for me. But that scene, that first shoot 'em up scene in the where they, you know, the studio, the video game area.
Look cool.
Loved it. It. Even the last one of the last scenes when Trinity's like, I hate that name. My name is Trinity. I was like,
Tiffany.
Okay, girl, what you gonna do? Like that was good. That was some really good choreography.
All the swarm is kind of holding them apart, and they reaching towards each other. Because you see in the montage that if they made them too close and they would, you know, touch, it would kind of blow out the circuit. So they had to keep them just far enough apart, because the two of them, and I know this is a big thing on the net right now. A lot of people are saying, oh, you've ruined the Matrix, or you emasculated Neo, or whatever. He's not the one anymore. It's like, well, think about the original movies. Trinity believed in him, and that belief in him is what gave him the personal fortitude to be the one and have these powers, right?
Okay.
I have a question for you guys. Why would it emasculate Neo if Trinity achieves the same level of powers that Neo does? I don't get that personally. I'm a female, so I'm different. So
I don't get that either. My question though is how?
She saw the Matrix code. I don't know.
So did he, and he had been the one forever. And it's not to say that now she can't be the one. You just got here though. Like, what was it? Because like I said, Neo saw it too. Neo has seen it. Trinity just got there. What is it? And again, I don't care if she's the one, he's the one. They're both the one. They can be 11. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
What is it internally or whatever it is? What is it about her makeup? Not makeup, but her makeup that makes her the one as well. I'll say as well, because at first it was like, oh, Neo's not the one. She's the one. Okay.
Both
And then
one.
the end happened with Neil Patrick Harris and stuff, which I thought the stuff when she knocked his jaw off, I was like,
yeah,
cool. Like that made me kind of gag a little bit. It looked really good. But then you realize, okay, they're both the one. Like they both had the same abilities and stuff. What is it? Because we saw Trinity for 3 movies.
Mm-hmm.
And she was never a one.
She was talented.
Yeah. No, exactly. She was very talented. What is it now, all of a sudden, that she's been removed from the Matrix and she's come back to it?
Well,
is it the kiss? Is it,
I mean,
the nostalgia effect on her because she remembers him? I
well,
don't get it.
Just before she learns how to fly, there's the scene where they go up to the rooftop. She looks over the sunset within the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
She sees the code differently than Neo does, which is interesting because Neo sees the green code. She saw it as like a golden light, which was I don't know what the symbology of that was supposed to be.
That's what I was saying. She
sees it differently.
There's questions unanswered. And if you're gonna make another movie to answer those questions, cool.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they will.
I'm not gonna watch it because this one was not that good either. But I don't know. That was I don't know.
I mean, I might have an answer, but I don't think a lot of people are gonna like it.
What is it?
Go for it.
Well, the Wachowski brothers, when they made it, are now the Wachowski sisters.
Correct.
And there might have just been that kind of flip-flop there because of empowerment and all that flashy nonsense.
I don't think that was it. Because the original 3 movies were a large.
She was in there the first part.
Yeah. But that's again,
the first 3 movies, they were a call for social construct and things that we deal with. As well as the whole Alice in Wonderland thing, it was a mirror to turn society, society turning the mirror on yourselves to go take a look at yourself and what you're doing to help or hinder everything, and so I get it. There were subtle things here and there with this one, whether they were talking about trans rights or putting a rainbow all over the sky, and which I'm fine with. I think if it was
the game that Neo's designing being called Binary, which
I didn't even catch that. It was on the whole time too. I didn't even catch that. Yeah. And
the idea of binaryism and
I think
some people don't believe in binaryism.
I think if they wanted to quote unquote put it in our faces, they did a little bit.
Money. But they had a little bit, right? Like, can't you control her? And I was like, that's a little on the nose. Like, yes, I get it. Yeah. They gave her kids. There's the idea of they gave her kids and they controlled her through having kids and having her kids control her. And some women do feel that way. Like all I'm good for is just making babies, which is not true. I don't believe that, but some women do feel that. I don't think they just made Trinity the one because of I'll say the word wokeism. I don't think that. I really don't. Because she was in the original trilogy and she was the first character we saw in the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
I just feel it's weird that it took her 4 movies to come out to be the coexisting one.
She died and was resurrected just like Neo. So Neo, she's rebuilt. And also I'll say this, every time they said that the Matrix rebooted itself, there was a new anomaly in the Matrix. So maybe in this version of the Matrix, the anomaly is that she has different power, has a different level of powers than Neo, or it's the fact that she's so angry about how the analyst used her that because you saw it in the movie, Neo was like not quite getting his mojo back until Jonathan Groff said, "You'll never see Trinity again," and then he's like, "Hell no, I need to be with Trinity." And maybe it was the same thing with her. She's so pissed off that she's been treated the way she was by the analyst for so long, given kids, given Chad Stahelski as her husband, which is a fun little, I don't know if you caught that, the Chad guy. I think that's Chad Stahelski, who's one of the original fight choreographers of The Matrix.
Okay.
I think that's him, but he was called Chad, which is interesting. that he was like kind of not treating her well, had these kids to kind of like entice her to be part of the Matrix and fit into the Matrix. She's so angry about that and then she sees the Matrix differently on the rooftop. I think it's not executed well. I won't disagree with that. It's not executed super well where it's fleshed out and made really, really apparent why she achieved that other layer.
Love.
Well,
Love,
I think though,
yearnings,
you made it a good point that every time it reboots.
You think love's dumb?
I think it's a stupid trope.
Oh,
like it's
mute him.
Fine, mute me. Go for it.
Love's not a stupid trope.
Love is a mini. Love lifts us up where we belong. All you need is love.
I'm just mad that I don't have it. Okay.
For you.
Well, I'm sorry, but
no, I liked what you said about how every time it reboots, and that it's true that there's a different anomaly. Originally, we thought they thought Morpheus was the one, and then boom, Neo comes along, and so this time it's rebooted again, and so it's not the same this is not the same Trinity from the original trilogy. Yeah, this is a new one. So technically, she's only been in the movie once. Then this Trinity has, so it could be something like that, and which also would explain why Morpheus is not as strong as Morpheus.
Right.
So
well, he's a computer program. That's that.
But what I'm saying is this.
Yeah,
it's just different.
It's all different. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I expected to see.
I don't know either.
Frankly, I don't know what I expected to see. Yeah. And if it's because I expected, there's that whole thing with if movies are overhyped, you expect certain things, you don't see certain things, and that, like the Game of Thrones finale, right? Some people who weren't expecting a whole lot of the finale don't hate it as much as I did. I didn't agree with the narrative choices in the Game of Thrones ending because of what they set up earlier in the seasons. I'd have to go back and see if they really messed with the narrative. I don't know if I agree that they messed up the Matrix per se by what they ended up doing in the movie.
I don't know. I'm a firm believer in just because you make something and it's not as good as the original or whatever, it doesn't negate that. You can still go fucking buy it or download it or stream it and still watch it and still get that feeling. It can be had. You just have to fucking forget about that other shit that came out. And that's not to say that what this was shit.
It wasn't
that far off. I don't understand why the movie had to be made.
It's a fair critique. Yeah.
And so I think, and it was not that it didn't have to be made. I get the whole nostalgia and kind of a where are they now kind of a thing and stuff. I just thought it could have been gone a different way than a New Nightmare type of situation. There could have been a different reason for making the movie or a different plot, but I'm not a Wachowski. It's not my property to make, so but I can only sit here and call out what I see. And see the other thing too, I didn't care for I know we'll call them animal machines.
The animal
sentience
style, the sentience.
No, I didn't.
One of them felt a little bit like the Abyss to me, but
yeah, I don't know. I think what it was the first one like purred or whatever. Like it kind of came off like it was purring whenever it came up to Neo, and I was like, okay, we're gonna do that. And then the Stingray one, and I was like, what? Okay.
Well, the cat's name was Deja Vu, so I mean that was another thing.
No, one of the the
actual sentience out in the world.
Yeah.
Oh but
the other machines were squids.
No, and I have nothing against that. That they look like squids or whatever. It was just the whole purring thing was kind of weird for me.
Oh,
to where I was like,
it is interesting.
I could not. Oh, if this movie is nominated for best makeup
for who? For Niobe?
Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah,
was
Niobe?
Horrible. Not her. Her makeup.
It
was great to see her. She's one of my favorite parts of what is it, 2 and 3? She's in her helping everybody, out of Zion and everything. I love her character. I'm a big Jada Pinkett Smith fan. I really am. I love to criticize some of her choices and stuff in roles, but I
Both
think
she
at the
and
end of
Will
the
have
day,
no bad taste in movies that they pick.
right? I don't know. You set it off. I love that movie. I love me some Jada Pinkett. I love that she was in there. I did.
Mhm.
She was one of my favorite parts of it. I couldn't get past her makeup. It just
I-
looked like bad Botox that had been just caked on foundation.
Hmm.
And I was
Yeah,
just every time
I had that thought too. I was
oh.
like, is this good makeup? Is it not? I mean, she does look old, but yeah,
even her wife or whatever she was supposed to be.
I don't know if she was. Yeah, maybe she was. Yeah,
They were a little cuddly. They were a little too. I was like,
ladies are very cuddly, guys. I hate to tell you this. I hug
was
and
more,
cuddle with my female friends a lot.
This was very intimate. The way they were leaned in towards each other, and I don't care either way.
Mhm.
But her makeup was like that as well. And
Oh.
so I don't know if it's
from living in Io with the fake
maybe.
sunlight.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it was though. It might have been because I mean you can look at the one pilot with the white facial hair. Like things in the Matrix like are very, I don't want to say fashionable, but in a sense they are with how people look. Like dude was on point with the white beard and everything. I mean, you can go back to the original trilogy and look at the twins and everything that they were wearing. In this one, she had all the stuff on the side of her head. I'm sorry. To me, also the best part of the entire movie was the one with the blue hair, the main
Bugs.
She was incredible. I thought she was a really, really good actor, and
she's the best part of the Iron Fist series by far.
Yeah,
the same
maybe
gal from the Iron Fist series.
Maybe
she's like the only good part in that whole series.
I thought she was amazing, and I thought she did a better job than Keanu did. And in my opinion, between her and Carrie Ann, I thought she was the best part of the movie. Anytime she was on screen, I was like, well, at least I'm gonna get good acting.
Mm-hmm.
So
my other favorite reviewer, Dan Murrell, listened to his review as well, and he kind of said, I think some really salient points, which was some of the best stuff in the movie was given to these new characters, which kind of begs the question, well, why didn't you just make a new Matrix with all new characters and not have Neo and Trinity and not worry about that? But then if we had a Matrix movie that didn't have Trinity and I was a trio and Nitty, Neo and Trinity in the movie, would we have accepted that as a Matrix movie? I don't know. What do you think?
We've done it with so many other things to where there's a cameo of something. I mean, we're accepting only 30 minutes of Toby and Andrew. So,
I mean, my biggest thing is that's what a lot of people were worried about, and that's kind of what the movie played upon, is that there were a lot of these serious parts, and it was funny, but a lot of the times, you got the different Neo, you got the same Neo, the same Trinity, and you were right, Stephanie. This is a soft reboot, technically, from what they're doing, and to basically both of your points there, why not just have a whole new everybody? Because if there's different anomalies, why does Neo still have the power? And then why does Trinity, who kind of had the power before, now all of a sudden she has the power? And okay, yeah, sure, love. Okay, I could deal with that. Very typical trope, but you know how I like things. But at the same point in time, if this is a soft reboot and you're rebooting half of it, just fucking go full force and just redo everything, because technically this is a new Matrix.
Right.
So
if you're going to look at things too, if they're both the one, or even if just Trinity is more of the one, why didn't Trinity have more screen time?
Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen. I would have loved to have seen her get way more screen time than Keanu.
Yeah, especially if she's going to be the powerhouse. Make it Trinity's movie.
I mean, nothing against John Wick and anything like that, but
there was Mr. John Wick. The fight scenes, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but Jared, you're probably going to hate them because they're super quick cutty, and I really didn't care for them.
Choreography.
Yeah, it was just a lot of this and this and really simple stuff.
The thing too that we're forgetting is this is what we see is Neo or Thomas Anderson is not what he looks like.
Right. Yeah. There's
that older balding reflection that what he
His-
really looks like.
His DSI, his digital self-image. That was
Yeah.
an interesting.
Yeah.
I think that encapsulates like what I thought about the movie as a whole. There are a lot of really interesting ideas in this movie. The idea of what the Matrix now is under the analyst and how he manipulates humanity is different than how the architect did it. The idea of Neo, of him being tricked into, I guess, he was maintaining the Matrix unbeknownst to him. I think he's maintaining the Matrix by building in this other game. He's maintaining, I think, the overall infrastructure. They tricked him by thinking that he actually made the Matrix. That's why you have these, these thoughts and memories, and they have to, keep him whatever. It's an interesting idea. The idea of bugs and all this whole system of IO living with the sentience, and the sentience wanting to have freedom as well as the humans, and how it's not just us and them. It's redefining the idea of us, right? That's an interesting idea. A lot of interesting ideas where I'm like, okay, if you give me some interesting ideas to think about and chew on, I'll give you somewhat of the benefit of the doubt. But in the end, the movie itself as a movie is not very streamlined, and it's not very clear what is being done with this, and some of the execution of it. I can't really disagree that the execution of the movie is not good, because it's messy, and it's just not.
That's what a lot of people have been saying, is that it's messy. It's trying to tell a story, and it feels like somebody wrote a last minute paper at the last minute to finish it up.
Yeah.
So
let me ask.
I don't know about that,
let me pose this question: so should Warner Brothers and Lana Wachowski, should they have taken the blue pill on this one?
Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes.
Or should there have been a third purple pill and just kind of maybe yes or
somewhere in the middle for me?
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the middle. I don't. That's a whole. There's also that idea in the movie that there's that the illusion of choice, that the red pill, blue pill represents the illusion of choice. And they keep making that point a few times in the movie. Like, you can either stay here and die or come back and face court martial. Like, oh, that's a great choice, right? We keep being the idea in our society too, that we have the illusion of choice. When you go to the supermarket, you see 15 brands of olives. You have the illusion of choice, when in actuality, those 15 makers are all owned by the same 2 companies, right? The illusion of choice is an interesting idea. There's an illusion of choice. I don't want a binary option. Either they didn't make it or they made this. I think there's somewhere in the middle where Lana should have made it with Lily. I think
Let it base in the oven.
It's kind of funny, right? In the movie, Neo and Trinity together are the one, right? Well, you could say that Lana and Lily together were the Matrix.
Because what they did with the original trilogy, was amazing. It is amazing. It's a great story, and again, no matter what you think about the second one,
great chase scene.
As a whole, it's a near perfect franchise. It's a near perfect to me, but I may be a little biased. I'm a huge Alice in Wonderland fan, so anything that kind of parallels that story in any way, I'm also like, it's weird to say, but like hella religious, like
very religious. I was going to say it's not Alice in Wonderland at all for me. It's 100% Jesus, Jesus metaphor.
I can see it. I mean,
it's Buddhism.
It is a parallel to Alice in Wonderland, though. So
sure, it does have parallels. You're not wrong.
Yeah. You with the white rabbit, yada yada yada. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Jared, I don't think it's a waste of time to see it. Frankly, I really don't. I think there are a lot of interesting ideas, and boiling it down to the trope of their love being so powerful. I mean, their love was apparent all throughout the original trilogy. It's not unearned per se, but
I was just throwing it out there as the typical Hollywood tropes that are used in every movie. Someone died, and that gives them the power to do this. And it's like
being fridged,
cool. I get that. I understand that. But I don't need 1,000 movies where love is the power. That's like, there was like I forget what movie there was, but I really loved it because it told the story that not like the good guy didn't technically win. He technically didn't. And those are the movies that I like, is where it goes against the grain. Stop always doing the same thing. It like with the Marvel series. I know we talk about Marvel all the damn time. Let the motherfuckers that know how to write and create stories tell stories. We don't need the same copy paste all the time.
I think Loki is totally different. So, but a lot of them are, yeah, like that.
Well, that's what I mean. Where all of a sudden Loki, there's these variants and there's these differences, and it's just they don't win. They don't win at all.
No,
they
don't.
just boop. There's some shit that we now have to deal with, and then it has now created the universe that we are now in, and I love that. And see, I'm getting excited, so he's getting excited. My apologies, but that's just what I don't like when they overuse the same thing. It's like, oh, when they're together, they're the besties, and it's like, great. What happens when they're apart? Oh, well, they long for each other. Okay, yeah, I long for my best buddy who's across town. I'll just go see him. I don't know. I don't like when we overuse the same trope over and over again. It gets old. It gets boring.
Yeah.
But to your credit, Stephanie, you seem passionate. I'll figure out.
I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree that people can have their problems with the movie. I really, and I'll if I get hate from dudes on the internet, that's fine. But it makes me sad to think that some people think that Neo is emasculated if Trinity becomes his equal. I think that's
if you're going to get hate as a man, I should get hate then too, because I totally agree with you. I in no way
disagreeing that it's not done very well is fine, but her just being as equal as to Neo, it doesn't emasculate him.
No,
men and women together are powerful, or just two people together are powerful. I think that's the idea. It doesn't make either one of them less that they need each other. I don't think I'm lesser that I need my husband or vice versa.
All I want to know is, why is she now the one? If you can answer that, if I can get that.
I think my biggest question is, what was it that made her the one? That was it.
I don't care if it's I don't care if it's guy. I don't care if it's girl. I don't care if they're non-binary. I don't care if you call yourself an Apache helicopter and you're the fucking one. What made Neo no longer the one and now it's Trinity? That's the answer I want. I don't need some bullshit explanation for it. I just want to know how you became the one, and I'm fine with it. I don't give a shit.
I don't know. I didn't have any feeling of he was being emasculated whatsoever. Like, that never popped in my head.
Okay.
Watching the movie. And I'm one of those, like, I'll call shit out. Yeah. I mean, I've got
notes
about this movie that we still haven't even talked about. But I'm just like,
I really do think it's something to do with the scene where they're standing on the rooftop and she sees the sunset over the rooftops, and she sees the source code of the Matrix that looks a little different than how Neo sees it. I think that's the moment where, like, Neo understands what the Matrix is, and that's what gives him power, that he fully understands what the actual Matrix, what it is and what it could be. And I think in that moment, it's supposed to be indicated, at least I took it this way, that she fully understands what the Matrix is and what it could be, and therefore achieved like some sort of enlightenment.
That way. And I didn't take it that way. I looked at it. I looked at that as, and again, I may be going overboard here. I looked at it as a statement of, there's a difference between men and women, and we look at things differently.
It's true.
The way a man would look at something is not the same whatsoever as the way a woman would look at this, or a trans person, or whatever. We all look at things from our own perspectives a certain way. And that's how I saw that because she was Trinity, she was a female and he was a male, that's the way it looked differently. I don't know. It was just me.
I think it's a valid.
Yeah.
So
the other thing I like about these movies is
their art so a little bit.
It is.
It is art. You bring your own stuff
to it. They're great. The Wachowskis do a really good job at making movies that make you think. And especially with a movie like The Matrix, there are so many different ways you can look at it. And it is, in a way, art to where it kind of turns itself on you to go, well, one, what makes you think that way? And two, why does it make you feel that way? 3, tell me about your mother. Like all these kinds of things, to where it almost kind of turns into a therapy session, to where you kind of look at the movie as art to go, why does it make me feel like this? And
Mhm.
I will say that this movie did a really good job of me going, why did I watch this movie? No, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, Dash, you laid it, Stephanie and Dash, you just laid it out perfectly. You see that one scene a very particular way, and then Dash sees it a totally different way. I'll
Totally
probably
different
see it
way.
a third different way.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of that scene, is that no two people see the same thing alike unless, science, but still,
I don't know.
that's pretty dope. Like, that's
Yeah.
super. Isn't that what they call meta right there? Or am I a little off on that?
Layers.
Yeah.
Well, meta
like an
is
onion.
self-referential. It's
Yeah.
it's
Very
I mean, my
amusing.
husband loved the movie. He loved
Yeah?
it. Yeah, he really loved it. And
Well,
he really likes the original Matrix too. So I don't even think it's even fair to say men see one thing and women see. It's just humans in general.
True.
Gender. I mean, we'll talk about the Wachowski, but gender and sexuality is a spectrum. Humanity is a spectrum. We're all a spectrum. It's not fair to say men see this and women see this, or people this right sees this way and left sees that way. Republicans see this and Democrats see that. Right? There's a lot of this binaryism in our society right now, where we're kind of, I think, being divided upon those lines, kind of, so we fight each other and we produce extra energy. So that idea of the Matrix very much hits home for me, right? Like, oh, you believe in that politician, I don't, therefore let's fight, we're enemies. It's so silly, right? People
How have I not
see
been cast for the
things.
Matrix then? I'm a very low energy producer.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we're all still in the Matrix and we don't know, right? We're having all this crap pumped into our heads. The Matrix weaponizes the things that are familiar to you. Really cool ideas. And we're all going to respond to them a little bit differently. And that's interesting. And it sparks a lot of cool conversation. And I kind of like a movie that I can't immediately put my finger on right away. What was this movie about? I like that. I have to kind of meet the filmmaker a little bit, and the filmmaker doesn't have to the whole film at me. I have to do a little work on my part.
I agree. All
That
right,
doesn't make it entertaining, though. Some people don't like that. So fair enough. If whatever your opinions are of this film, you're justified to have those opinions. I'm justified to have my opinion, and we can just talk about it like human beings.
Just
There we
remember,
go.
you're still wrong.
I'm still wrong. Okay.
No, the other people out there, your opinion is correct. Everybody else is incorrect. So-
Right.
All right. I think I'm gonna kick this off.
What would you give for a rating?
Out of 10.
Out of 10.
10 blue pills. I originally said a 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go, and I originally said that this was pushing it. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Now that talking about this, there are those, like Jared said, this being kind of an onion of a movie, to where there's so many layers that I don't know. I think I appreciate it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
What was the person's name? Bugs.
Bugs.
her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica Henwick.
She gets a 10 out of 10 for me.
She's great.
She's
really great.
Again, my opinion only. I thought she was the best part of the whole movie. But yeah, for me, I'm giving this movie a 4 out of 10.
Totally fair. I would go a little bit higher than you, obviously. I wouldn't put it in the realm of anywhere above 8. I just wouldn't. And I think that's fine. I would probably give it 6.5 or a 7, somewhere in there. I think maybe if I watched it a few more times and I get the additional layers, maybe I would rate it higher or lower. I'm not sure yet, but on initial viewing, I liked a lot of the ideas. I have questions about some of the execution and some of the meaning behind the ideas and how they were presented. Again, I'll go to Dan Murrell. Some parts of the movie felt a little bit rushed, and some parts of it really slowed down the pace. And it was interesting, this kind of push and pull narrative and momentum in the movie was interesting. The idea of the swarm of, I'm not making agents, I'm just going to swarm everybody in kind of a zombie feel. That was interesting. I think it had to do with what it was saying, what the Matrix said it was in this iteration, that it's this group think that the media is, or whatever, the Matrix is pumping into our heads, all this noise that's being pumped into our heads. That's really interesting.
Not what I got at all. I got that as this is a bug in the matrix, and what's a lot of bugs, but a swarm.
A swarm.
Yeah, that's what I got from it.
Yeah, see, that's interesting. I love that. Totally different experience seeing a movie. It's interesting. So I guess I'd say 6.5 still, 6.5 for my review. I'm still glad that I watched it, and I'm probably going to watch it a few more times. And it was still great to see Trinity and Neo together in some iteration. And it was interesting to see Lana. There's a line in there about artists don't know why they create things. And I don't know why Lana created this, other than she says that she lost her parents. And
maybe this was her way of dealing with it.
It's her way of getting it out. I don't know. But
maybe she needed to take one more trip down the rabbit hole.
That's entirely possible. A lot of drugs. So there's my 6.5.
All right.
I'm going to go a little different route here. Typically, I rate movies on how interesting the trailer is. The trailer didn't catch me like it caught Stephanie. The trailer didn't catch me like it caught Dash. I was about a 2 out of 10 blue pills, right? Yeah. And I guess now sitting here and hearing a little bit more about it, I will give it a shot. I will be optimistic in this, and I will give it a shot. So I'm going up to 5 out of 10, which is the bare minimum to watch a movie. If it at least gives me a little bit of glimmer, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch that. So we'll my review is I will now watch this movie.
There you go.
I will give it a shot.
Cool.
Well, thanks everybody. This has been the Shorts and Hoodies crew. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the channel. Let us know what your thoughts are. Please be nice about it. We are all human beings. We're not just faces behind a screen. Or maybe we're bodies plugged into a large battery. We don't know. But in this iteration of the Matrix, we are human beings. So please, if you leave a comment, please be nice about it if you can. Just let us know what your thoughts were about the movie, what you thought about it, your thoughts and theories about what the story actually meant.
Let us know what you want us to review next.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
We got some good movies coming up. We got Morbius coming up. New Scream is coming up.
That's interesting. Oh, the Scream one sounds. That's another Wes Craven. I
don't know. I'm getting ready to sign up for that AMC Stubbs A-list thing.
Oh, okay. So you can
3
see that.
3 movies a week for $20.
It's a great deal. A friend of mine has it. It's a great deal. Yeah.
There's a lot of good movies coming up.
A lot of good movies coming up that we're looking forward to. You saw my trailer reaction to The Northman. I'm super. That's in April though, so I gotta wait a little while for that. Everything Everywhere All at Once comes out in March. A lot of fun movies coming out. But next week, our next show, right, for the new year is that we're going to run down our top 10 TV and movies of 2021, what things that we watched and what we thought was the 10 best that we watched. So that'll be really fun to see. So I'm going to sign this one off. Then I have been Steph.
I'm Dash.
Ask me about my podcast.
Thanks, Jared. All right. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Cut the check.